is a dwindling demand for the Trinidad and Tobago dollar. Are businesses in Jamaica planning to reduce or have already reduced their volume of trade with Trinidad and Tobago? What does this mean for local manufacturers who ship to Jamaica? What will the sales of goods to, how will the sales of goods to Jamaica be disrupted? Will the Prime Minister, we must never forget in his first term, I think the Prime Minister flew to Jamaica to iron out trade relations and trade issues. Will the Prime Minister Rowley fly to Jamaica to smoothen this issue with the Bank of Jamaica? The Minister of Finance, Colman Burt, must not remain silent. The Minister of Trade and Industry, Paula Gopi-Skun, must not remain silent. And also, the Governor of the Central Bank must not remain silent, because I think that they owe all of us a response on this particular issue of the Trinidad and Tobago's dollar in terms of being suspended. And on the issue of data breaches and so on, I am today calling one final point. The Minister of Health, because it has been brought to our attention in the UNC last night, and the government and the Minister of Health must tell us if this is true. It has been brought to my attention the entire computer system at the San Fernando General Hospital has been hacked with a virus, and that patients' records cannot be accessed by medical personnel. Furthermore, I've been told that because of this alleged situation, staff has been sent to work from home and computers have been marked off as unusable, and I've been further informed that the administration, like what I hope this is not another cover-up, and we will expect Minister Indarsingh not to mislead us, not to deceive us, not to lie to us, but to come out and deny or acknowledge whether there has been another cyber attack and whether any citizens' personal, intimate, or private information has have been compromised. Can the Minister of Health confirm or deny this? Because it poses a continued national security threat and danger to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of our presentation, and we will make ourselves available to members of the media in terms of questions that they might want to pose to us. Thank you very much.
Okay, I have a question. MP Saddam, has there been any response from the opposition leader on the crime talks? I saw they got a letter on Friday, I believe.
So let me just give you a brief history of it. With respect to the crime talks, the Prime Minister had made an announcement that he wants to engage members of the opposition with respect to crime talks. There were letters between the opposition leader and the Prime Minister. And every time the Prime Minister has changed his tone and he moved the goalposts each and every time. And in our last letter, the opposition leader asked the Prime Minister to make clarifications on 6 various points in terms of the composition of the committee, the chairmanship of the committee, whether the Prime Minister himself will attend the committee, and several other issues. The Prime Minister has not responded to that letter, but opted to say that opted to instruct the Attorney General to respond to the leader of the opposition. I want to tell the Attorney General, Kamala Persad-Bissessar is not your equivalent. The Prime Minister is her equivalent. Stay in your lane. We will engage the Prime Minister. The opposition leader is awaiting a formal response from the Prime Minister. There's a letter dated the 14th of October which he wrote to the Prime Minister. He ought to respond to her directly. Amor his credibility has been shot. He has lied to an international court, and we do not trust him. The Prime Minister ought to do the respectful thing and respond to the leader of the opposition with respect to her queries.
MP Indarsingh, several times during your presentation you spoke about members of the PLM misleading the Parliament. Do you see the UNC taking the opposition taking any position on that and action on that?
Well, as I said, based on what is on the parliamentary Hansard and what is in the newspapers of today, where the minister indicated that he told the parliament that the customers' data were not breached by this cyber security attack. And he said further, based on the security protocols that were triggered when the incursion was detected, that TSTT data and the data of its customers were not in any way compromised. And he indicated in this article that the minister called the chairman, Sean Roach, for a detailed report. I sent him back to the company's management to get a better picture of what was unfolding, and they had then admitted there was a breach. So he issued another statement. The ultimate buck lies with the minister. He has the ultimate responsibility. He is in charge. And if he misled the parliament, if he deceived the parliament, then the UNC will explore its option. We will analyze the parliamentary Hansard, and I am sure that we will strongly consider a committee sending the minister to the privileges committee to analyze whether a case has been made out and for him to be sanctioned based on what is on the parliamentary record. And in another jurisdiction, under the Westminster system, when ministers are caught lying, they mislead the parliament, they suffer the ultimate consequence. They have the decency to resign. And today, the UNC is calling upon Minister Marvin Gonzalez to resign based on his actions in the parliament, to the media, and outside of the parliament.
I have several questions here from Alicia Boucher of TV6. So the first one is, what is the UNC's take on the revelation by the judiciary that police officers also had intercourse with the 16-year-old victim in the Michael Smith case? And what are you hoping to see come from this matter that has been forwarded from the judiciary to the counter-trafficking unit?
Those revelations and findings are in fact very unfortunate, based on what we have seen from the media release that was issued by the judiciary on the 3rd of November. We hope that the matter is fully investigated, and any person who commits any gruesome acts of indecency and sexual assault on a young woman in this country ought to be brought to justice. So we hope for a free, independent, a serious and urgent investigation into that particular matter.
All right, another question. If the government fails to adhere to the call for an urgent JSC to address the electronic monitoring matter, what's the next step for the opposition?
The Parliament is the place where we call the government to account. Using the Joint Select Committee is just one tool in the arsenal that we have. There are other parliamentary tools that we will explore. That will be a matter for the caucus of the opposition to determine, because this is an issue that we will not leave alone, having regard to its grave consequences with respect to this matter. But I can't see the government refusing to call for this JSC. I think Dr. Munilal yesterday or on Friday indicated as a member of the JSC that it ought to be meeting an emergency session, simply because this matter ought to be addressed, because there are many other individuals who are outfitted with these bracelets, and we have to ensure that this matter doesn't repeat itself as it happened twice so far that we know of in the past. The government should not hide. They should immediately convene this Joint Select Committee so that we get answers to protect the public's interests.
Follow-up question is that the UNC has called for the protection of the victim in the Smith case. What level of protection do you think should be extended?
So I don't want to go into the facts of that in terms of that, but the state must take all relevant actions to ensure that this young woman is safe, and they must also take increased action to ensure that this person who has been convicted, the first convictee of human trafficking in Trinidad and Tobago, is captured, and that he serves the relevant imprisonment that he was ordered to by a court of law in this country after having been found guilty by a jury of his peers.
Two more questions. Are you confident in the safe houses in the country?
Based on the article that we saw today in the Trinidad Express and previous concerns, because this is not a one-off situation, we have seen other instances in which witnesses under the Witness Protection Program have complained about the conditions in the place that they have been in. They have complained about the treatment that they have been getting. The opposition leader, as I told you in 2016, would have raised this concern with the Prime Minister. So we really call on a complete overhaul of the Witness Protection Program. And also, there are necessary amendments that has to be made to the Justice Protection Act, which establishes this Witness Protection Program.
The final question from Ms. Boucher. Seeing that the matter is concluded and the accused is now convicted, could the victim-in-law still get state protection in light of what has transpired?
This is a young 16-year-old woman. I think the moral thing to do is to ensure that this person is protected. I note that the article or the media release that would have been issued, I believe, indicated that she may be resident or abroad. I don't know the circumstances, but I think the moral thing to do is to ensure that this woman is kept safe until the capture of Mr. Anthony Smith, who has released himself from the state's custody through the failure and incompetence of this government to ensure that these electronic monitoring bracelets are properly functioning and fit for use for the particular purpose.
And just to add, I think that not only because she's a minor, I do not know what is her exact age now, but her entire family should be afforded protection of the state, because the way criminals act with impunity in this country, that if they cannot get to you, they target members of your immediate or extended family and so on. And on the issue of this particular issue where the judge has sent the file to the counter-trafficking unit, I think that the Commissioner of Police should move with haste to subject any officer or officers who were complicit in this particular crime, and the office of the DPP should also collaborate to bring those perpetrators before the judicial system in this heinous crime.
Yes, Alicia Boucher just sent a clarification, which you mentioned that she's not 16 anymore, and she should now be around 24.
Yeah. And I think it happened. The 16-year-old she was 16-year-old then for the period that she was captured. Yeah.
So, that's it?
So thank you very much, members of the media who have joined us in person and those who have joined us virtually. I also want to congratulate and thank my colleague, the MP for Cooper South, for such a comprehensive presentation on these very touching and concerning issues with respect to breaches of privacy and matters in relation to trade and the economy. We will be going into the Diwali celebration this week. I urge all of my brothers and sisters to keep safe during this period. And if we don't see you again until Diwali, I want to wish Trinidad and Tobago, on behalf of the opposition and the leader of the opposition, a happy, holy, and safe Diwali. And may all your prayers be answered, and that I hope God keeps us safe to see another Diwali. Thank you very much.
Thank you.